Donald Trump has been indicted. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. Former President Donald Trump has been indicted in the special counsel's classified documents probe, and this is a stunning development that marks the first time a former president has faced federal charges. Trump has been charged with 7 counts according to a source familiar with the matter. The former president, who denied any wrongdoing, said he has been summoned to appear at the federal courthouse in Miami next Tuesday. The Justice Department has been investigating whether classified documents from the Trump White House were illegally mishandled when they were taken to his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida after he left office. And just days ago, there was another development where a pool was drained and the water was used to flood a room that had the White House classified documents and computers. And while it's unclear if the room was intentionally flooded or if it happened by mistake, the incident occurred amid a series of events that federal prosecutors found suspicious. There are still at least another 3 more pending cases where the man who thinks he's above the law will be indicted. The police said that charges will be laid in connection with Wednesday's removal of 23 children from the Quahala Yahweh complex in Montego Bay. The operation, which involved the Child Care and Family Service Agency, security forces, and other government agencies, was conducted after they received credible information that children were being deprived of basic amenities, including education. The police said that the children were housed in unhygienic conditions, they were not immunized, and 16-year-olds were being forced into marriage. The children were also found to be physically, emotionally, and verbally abused, among other atrocities. In 2019, the security forces were met with resistance as they attempted to remove children from this same Yahweh property during a raid. And this followed reports of child abuse and young girls purportedly being married to grown men. Several farmers in St. Elizabeth are counting their losses after floodwater caused by heavy rains on Tuesday washed away millions of dollars worth of crops. A number of communities in the southern section of the parish saw sustained rainfall of more than 4 hours, which affected crops such as melons, tomatoes, and escallion. A melon farmer from Chocolate Hole Inn Junction said his melon garden was decimated by floodwaters. The farmer, who said his melon garden was roughly 3 acres, believed that he lost almost $5 million worth of melon in the flood. Several homes in the Bull Savannah area were also inundated after heavy rains pelted the community, and it is still ongoing, so you can just imagine how much water there is in that southern part of Jamaica. On Wednesday evening, 2 police officers suspected of robbing 2 Chinese company owners of about $15 million were apprehended at the Norman Manley International Airport. And according to reports, the officers had booked flights to the U.S. when they were apprehended by members of a special police unit. According to a top investigator, the 2 officers will be placed on an identification parade. And he stated that CCTV video aided investigators in identifying the constables assigned to the St. Andrews South Police Division. And it also stated that about 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, June 6, the 2 Chinese nationals were at their business when they were approached by 2 plainclothes police officers. The officers presented their identification and a paper they said was a Constant Spring police warrant authorizing a search of the premises for uncustomed items. They were given permission to enter the company. They allegedly searched the premises and stole $8.5 million in Jamaican as well as $40,000 US from a metal file cabinet. No wonder the business people are so afraid to call police when anything goes wrong, especially when they're being extorted by criminals, because they actually view the police the same as the criminals. The same thing that the criminals are doing is the same thing that the police are said to be doing. A Jamaica Defense Force soldier who was in April convicted of raping a 17-year-old girl in 2015 was yesterday sentenced to 18 years in prison. Oral Bourne was sentenced when he appeared in a home circuit court. He was convicted on 3 counts of rape, 1 count of attempted rape, and 2 counts of indecent assault. The former JDF sergeant was charged following a probe by the Center for the Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, CISOCA, into allegations that he molested the teenager, and he denied the allegations. But you know, it's so funny how a soldier can get 18 years in prison for rape, but murderers who kill people get 5 and 10 years. And some even get off clean and don't spend a day in jail. It's kind of weird, isn't it? 3 men were apprehended in a pre-dawn raid in Manchester yesterday after allegedly breaking into 2 commercial locations in Christiana as well as Spalding's in Clarendon and stealing 8 poker boxes. According to Manchester police, they were informed of the theft of the poker boxes and later stopped a silver Probox motor vehicle in the Porous area. 3 men in the van were detained and 5 of the stolen boxes were recovered. The remaining 3 poker boxes, according to the authorities, were found elsewhere. And these men, all from Waltham Park in Kingston, are thought to be part of a group that has recently stolen several poker boxes elsewhere. On Tuesday, a flight attendant was detained for attempting to smuggle cocaine through the Sangsters International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James. The 47-year-old, who has dual U.S. and Jamaican citizenship, was detained on reasonable suspicion of violating the Dangerous Drug Act, and her name is being kept under wraps until further inquiry. According to narcotics police, the flight attendant arrived at the airport about 12:30 p.m. and attempted to board a flight to New York. And during security checks, the cocaine weighing about 1.5 kilogram was discovered stashed in her baggage. The substance has a street value of about 75,000 US dollars. And this next story just shows how barbaric the island has become. The police are now trying to determine the circumstances which led to the abduction and attempted murder of an 8-year-old girl. She was abducted from the Brayton Primary School in Portmore in St. Catherine yesterday afternoon. Reports said that the girl's throat was slashed and she was thrown from a vehicle along Roosevelt Avenue in the St. Andrews Central Police Division. Investigators said the child was seen walking along the busy thoroughfare. She was bumping into vehicles and a male driver made inquiries. The motorist realized that the girl had a wound to her neck and rushed her to the Bustamante Hospital for Children, where she underwent surgery. Children's advocate Diane Gordon Harris described the attack on the child as horrendous, and of course, we call it barbaric. On to sports, Mount Pleasant and Cavaliers will clash on Sunday in the Jamaica Premier League's final. And this is after Mount Pleasant beat Arnett Gardens 3-1 last Sunday, giving Arnett their first loss in 17 games. Meanwhile, Cavalier, who beat Harborview 2-0 to win 3-0 on aggregate after a 1-0 win in Game 1, will meet with Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant have the momentum going into this game as they seek to become champions for the first time. NBA, well, tonight is Game 4 in the NBA Finals as the Heat try to win at least one more game before going back to the Nuggets den. On Wednesday night, Miami was outplayed, they were out-hustled and outscored by the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets rolled to a convincing 109-94 win in Game 3. The Nuggets had a triple-double from Jokic and a 32-point triple-double performance from Jamal Murray easily pushed ahead of the Heat in the second half to take a 2-1 series lead. Jimmy Butler led the Heat with 28 points, Bam Adebayo finished with 22 points, 17 rebounds, and Caleb Martin added 10 points off the bench. And tonight is going to be a very entertaining and very exciting as both teams are going to be going at full tilt. Miami have something to prove, while Denver have never been this close to being a champion ever in their franchise history, so they won't be playing any ease up. So tonight, it's going to be a really great game. And if you ever missed the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamaican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. And that's news and sports on your favorite radio station. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.